Hello, everyone, and welcome to each and every one of you to the first episode of Season 6 of Your Manchester.
And it's not just the first episode of the week, but the first of two. Have you heard the news?
What news would that be, please, Mr. Michael?
Well, we're now on twice weekly.
You're joking. Oh, that's right. We have our usual episode on Wednesday, which you're watching now at 8 p.m.
Right.
And
an extra helping of Your Manchester each Sunday at the same time.
How exciting is that? So we've got all the usual features. It's just going to be absolutely sensationally exciting, isn't it?
Should we crack on with it?
Oh, I tell you what, we've got a jam-packed show for you coming up today, don't we?
We sure do. That's right. So in a few minutes' time, our Ollie Mortimer is chatting to star of Bugsy Malone the musical, Mohamed Bangura, as the show is set to dazzle audiences at the Opera House from today.
And is it too early to mention the C word?
I think so. We are pre-watershed.
No, you misunderstand me. What I mean is Christmas. Yes, We'll be chatting to Fran Healey from Stoller Hall about their celebrations for this festive period.
Sounds good. Plus, our Mark Llewellyn delves deep into the true crime of Greater Manchester, looking at the history of burglar and murderer Charlie Peace.
And to round off the show, Hayley Cartwright looks at the hottest film to grace Netflix this month.
Sounds good to me. Here's how your Wednesday evening is panning out.
First, you may have seen the exciting news that Bolton-born comedian Peter Kay has announced his first stand-up tour in over 12 years, and it all kicks off at the AO Arena on the 2nd of December.
The nationwide arena tour also includes a monthly residency at the O2 in London, making him the first artist in the world to hold this for an entire month. Now, I have to admit to you,
what?
I'm not his biggest fan, but do you have plans to go and see him?
How can you not be Peter Kay's big? Do you not find him funny?
Not really, no.
No?
Don't really, no. No, I don't.
But, I mean, you must love a bit of Disney, though. I mean, we've got Winnie the Pooh that's coming next year to the Opera House.
Not a fan of Disney either. I love a bit of Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Is that it? Little Mermaid,
Poppins.
Mary
Oh,
Poppins.
I like Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, all the important
That's
ones.
it. We'll cut Mickey right out of it.
Mickey Mouse.
However, there are lots of great things happening theatre-wise around our city at the moment. You might have realised that the European theatrical premiere of the 2013 Broadway musical version of Cinderella is now showing up until the 11th of December at Hope Mill Theatre, of all places.
How exciting. They're doing fantastic. But back to the Opera House now, though. And you may have seen that Bugsy Malone, the musical, has arrived in our city.
That's right. Telling the story of two gangs in the Prohibition era of New York City back in the 1920s and packed full of fabulous musical numbers. This isn't one to be missed.
Indeed. Our Ollie Mortimer caught up with Mohamed Bangura, who plays Leroy in the show, earlier this week to find out more.
How have you found it so far?
It's sometimes it still feels quite surreal. Like there are just nights at the end of the show when we're doing like the final curtain call and stuff, and just the reception from the audience is just one of those things that I don't think I'll ever be completely used to.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I've heard that this is your first professional tour of a musical, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Your first proper acting debut. And for anyone who doesn't actually know what Bugsy Malone is all about, please can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we've got these two rival gang bosses in Fat Sam and Dandy Dan, who are like fighting to, control the empire and get these splurge guns and these contraptions and stuff. And then in the middle of that, you have the titular Bugsy Malone, who's helping Fat Sam out whilst also trying to find his own way to make money. But within that, he also meets Blousy Brown, who he falls for head over heels and is then doing everything that he can to get her to Hollywood. And then in between that, it's just all these harebrained schemes, amazing musical numbers, amazing dance breaks. And it's just a really good, like uplifting, fun, feel good, like play to see, especially after the last couple of years that we've had.
Bugsy Malone as a musical, what does it actually mean to you then?
This show has like a very special place in my heart because it was I did this show way back in secondary school, and it was the first thing that I did that cemented that I want to be a performer. So when I got asked to audition for this from my agent, it just felt like full circle and very, very surreal.
Where has this passion for acting actually come from?
So like I did like my first ever play in like year 4. It was oh wow, I've forgotten it. Was it the Pied Piper? Yeah, Pied Piper.
Right, okay.
But even then, it was just like I just did it because that was the thing that you did in school. But I think Bugsy Malone was just like a blast. It was so fun, and there was just like just that feeling of just throwing yourself into someone else for a bit and then just kind of bringing joy to an audience was like a feeling that always really stuck with me. So I think from then on, I knew that, yeah, this is definitely something that I want to continue to do.
Well, Mohamed, well, thank you for joining me, and I hope that the UK tour and the rest of it, especially Manchester, goes really well for you.
Got a confession for you, actually, Belinda.
What's that, Flower?
I actually started in Bugsy Malone myself back in primary school, but typical me, I was killed off in the first act.
How do you get killed off in the first act, please?
In fact, I was killed off in the very first scene. I think it might have been down to the fact I had bright blonde hair at the time, and they had to draw sideburns on me with a black eyeliner, and they also dyed my hair purple accidentally with purple hair gel. So I think they just wanted rid of me from the outset.
Sounds fantastic. It's definitely not too early then to mention the C word, is it?
Well, I'd have said yes if I didn't know you were talking about Christmas.
Yeah, have you got your decorations up yet?
I am trying with my housemate. She's having none of it. However, my mother has already got them downstairs as we speak. She is a mid-build.
Oh, yeah, you showed me a picture, didn't you, the other week? I have to say, though, the way that it was all sort of wrapped up in its cellophane, you did look like, the tree rather, did look like it could be part of one of Mark's true crime stories.
We were running risk of that, weren't we? Well, down at the Stoller Hall at the Cheetham Hill of Music, they're already reserving their crowd. Well, down at the Stoller Hall and the Cheetham School of Music, they're reserving their festive celebrations until December.
They're joined by Lindisfarne for their up-close and seasonal Christmas concert. They've got a carol concert as well. They've got a jukebox concert, and they've got an artisan festival market there. And to tell us more, we're joined by Fran Healey from Stoller Hall. Good evening, Fran.
Hello.
Tell us, what have you got going on at Stoller Hall this Christmas?
Oh, you name it, we've got it. We've literally took delivery of the Christmas tree this morning, so it's all starting to happen. The big day is the 11th of December, when we've got artisan markets and family shows, songwriting workshops, and that's the Lindisfarne evening. So they're doing all the famous songs like Fog on the Tyne and Meet Me on the Corner. All the ones, I'm not going to sing, but you know the ones you know. Yeah, and we've got jazz, and we've got carol concerts, and all sorts. You name it, really.
So,
sounds good.
Being from the Northeast, I do love a bit of Lindisfarne. How great is it that you've got these legends performing?
I'm so excited. Well, I'm from Durham, so I'm from the Northeast as well. So I can relate. So yeah, no, really excited. I know. Small world. Everyone, all the best people are from up there, apart from the ones from Manchester, of course, who are also pretty cool. But
Oh, I agree. So how long is this going on for?
Well, we're starting really from the beginning of December. We're going to start decorating the venue now, really, from next week. So we'll start to warm up towards Christmas, get in the mood. We're going to start putting mince pies and mulled wine on the bar for people when they come into the venue. But the performances really start on the 1st of December. We start with jazz, and then we move on to some classical, and then family, and then the markets, and then folk, and big band, all sorts of things.
It sounds fantastic. Now, of course, you've got Christmas carols going on as well. Does this make it more of a traditional Christmas celebration at Stoller Hall?
I think there will be elements of both, to be honest. So the Cantos carols is going to be fairly traditional, but there's also going to be an element of new carols that have been composed quite recently. So there's a bit of competition going on for a new carol. So there'll be an element of everything, really, from the familiar stuff to the more fun night out, go and have a good time because it's Christmas.
Tell us about the artisan markets. What items can customers get their hands on down there?
Oh, we've got a real exciting range, actually. So all of the traders are local, and all of them are people who make their own craft. So we've kind of hand-selected the traders. We'll be showcasing the traders in the lead up to the market. So watch our social media, and you'll be able to see what's coming up. But we've got prints, we've got jewellery, we've got craft bags. We've got one of our members of staff actually who makes handbags and shoulder bags and things like that. So she's bringing her products to the markets. So yeah, a bit of everything.
Details on our website and on our socials as well, because we want you all to get behind this fantastic thing. Thank you for now, Fran. Thank you.
Great to speak to you, Fran.
Thank you. We'll see you there.
That all sounds really wonderful, doesn't it?
It does. I love myself a festive market.
As do I. Now, still to come, our Hayley Cartwright looks ahead at the hottest film to hit Netflix this month. But now, I'm going to do this in a proper good voice. But now, the first part in our true crime series is Mark Llewellyn delves deep into the criminal history of one of Manchester's most notorious murderers, Charlie Peace.
On the night of August the 1st, 1876, a young policeman was out patrolling at night, unaccompanied, on his own for the very first time, in the Whalley Range district of Manchester. He'd been warned about tensions rising between the police and the local Irish community, So when he rounded the corner of Seymour Grove and he saw shadows and movement through the bushes near some villas, he shouted out the names of the local Irish labourers. There was no reply. But then suddenly, out of the night, came a gunshot, and he fell to the floor, fatally wounded. The police needed to make an arrest, and quickly. Near the scene of the crime lived three brothers, Irish brothers, horticultural labourers, and they had made threats to the police earlier in the week. So the police raided the sheds that they lived in. And the youngest, William Habron, was charged with the murder of PC Nicholas Cock. He stood trial at Manchester Assizes, where he was found guilty, the judge donning the black cap to sentence him to hang. Of course, he was innocent. Sitting up in the public gallery was the real criminal, Charlie Peace, who looked on with glee as the wrong man was sentenced to hang. He now had a taste for murder. Charlie Peace made his way back to Sheffield, where he tried for a reunion with his mistress, Mrs. Dyson. Mr. Dyson wasn't too pleased about it, and there was an altercation with Peace shooting him dead. Peace made his way to London with his wife, his mistress and his children, gave himself a new identity, became very much a pillar of the local church community. But the parishioners started to find that they were all being burgled. Now things had to come to an end, didn't they? And he was carrying out a burglary in southeast London when the police arrested him. But they didn't know exactly who they had. But Peace's mistress did, and she decided to claim the reward and tell them he was Charlie Peace, the murderer of Arthur Dyson. He was conveyed to Leeds to stand trial at the courts there. He was handcuffed to two warders taken on the train. He asked if he could lower the window, and he threw himself out, taking, of course, the two warders with him. So there wasn't much chance of escape. He was put on trial, found guilty, and sentenced to hang. But this was just for the murder of Arthur Dyson. In his final confessional, he told the priest that he'd also killed PC Nicholas Cock in Whalley Range. And so Habron, who was still doing hard labour awaiting for his death sentence to be carried out, was released and given compensation. Now, you might have not have heard of Charlie Peace, but he does go down in infamy. And he was also commemorated in two ways. One, he was one of the first murderers to be commemorated in wax in Madame Tussauds Chamber of Horrors. And secondly, he is one of the few real-life Victorian criminals to be mentioned in one of the Sherlock Holmes stories. A very wicked man indeed, Charlie Peace.
There'll be more from Mark and his true crime series later on in the year.
Mrs. Dyson, Mr. Cock.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
it's all going on, isn't it? Well, we're almost at the end of Wednesday. Stop it. We're almost at the end of Wednesday's show now. But first, Hayley Cartwright has a look ahead to a new film hitting Netflix surrounding the, well, let's just call him Jeffrey Epstein.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to Your Film. Now, 5 years ago in 2017, I'm sure you'll all remember that the Me Too movement went viral. It hit home with myself personally and so many other people in my industry and beyond. Two journalists actually exposed Harvey Weinstein's history of abuse and sexual misconduct against women. And the world overnight woke up. It just felt like overnight everybody just woke up, and people, millions of people, were actually responding with Me Too. Now, in 2019, a few years ago, Jodie and Meghan, those two journalists, wrote a book called She Said. And coming to the cinemas in the UK very soon is the biographical drama She Said. Kerry Mulligan and Zoe Kazan star as those two journalists, Jodie and Meghan, and She Said is out in the cinemas in the UK from the 25th of November. And if you only go to the cinema, the pictures, once before the end of the year, please make it this film. And let's hope that no one, regardless of their position of power, is ever allowed to behave in this way again.
definitely one to watch. Now, can you believe it? It's the end of the first episode of season 6.
Done and dusted.
I know.
But if you want more, then you don't have to wait a full week, everybody, because on Sunday you can get another Your Manchester Fix.
That's right. Sash Stone will be chatting to author Georgia Howard.
And Ollie Mortimer asks, do you think you know Manchester?
And we'll be chatting to author David Menon about his latest book, Who Are the Bad Guys?
Who are the bad
Who
guys?
are the
Now,
bad
don't
guys?
forget you can keep in touch with us across all of our social media channels. Until then, you can find us at Your MCR. Now, thanks again to each and everybody for joining us this evening. Thank you very much, Flowers. And we'll see you all on Sunday for another wonderful edition of Your Manchester.